Alright, so Chris's Discord messages have came out, which I will talk about in a different video. But in this video, I'm gonna catch up with some Kris Tyson lore I missed in the last video. So if you want to hear the full story, go watch those videos. I made 2 videos on it. But in this video, we're gonna talk about Kris Tyson's sister calling him out. Yeah, his sister also called him out. This story is getting crazy. And we're gonna go through and talk about the second victim, which not too many people actually talk about. But first, we're starting off with Kris Tyson's sister, where she tweeted this: "I'm his sibling. He," and yes, I use the correct pronoun. Alright, we're starting off strong. Twitter is not gonna like that one bit. You called him he? Ava Tyson goes by she, not he. Yeah, I got called homophobic when I said I was gonna respect his pronouns. Because he's a pedophile. I feel like that's pretty fair to do, but some people on the internet just don't think that. Let's focus on Kris like your children, not his pronouns. He told me that he got fully aroused when he secretly stole my female clothes and put them on. So yeah, this guy went into his sister's room, stole her clothes, and then got bricked up while wearing them. Yeah, that's a bit odd. Like, I'm trying to sit here and think of a reason why he would get bricked up while wearing his sister's clothes. Maybe he likes how he looks in it. I don't know. He's deluded and disturbed, and it's 100% a fetish. So yeah, I guess my last statement was correct. He's narcissistic, and professionals have told him he needs full psychic help. Yeah, that's one thing I cannot stand as narcissists. They are just, I cannot be around them. They're just so annoying. If you're just stupid and don't know what a narcissist is, the best way to explain it is that they're very selfish people. They think that people are below them. They usually don't have a lot of empathy for people. They basically think they're the main character, okay? That's the best way to explain it. And yeah, I did not look this up. Okay. So yeah, we kind of learned some things in this tweet. First thing is, Kris has always been a little bit weird, I guess. Best way to explain it. It seems like he wasn't really the best sibling. And that leads to the second thing. We found out that he's a narcissist. He did divorce his wife, and now his kid's gonna live in a broken household. Probably wondering why his mom and dad aren't together anymore. To go live out and chase his fetish. Which the fetish is probably hooking up with trans guys. But you guys are probably wondering, like, what made him want to transition? Well, we actually kind of have the answer. Or if anything, this at least influenced it. So Kris used to live in this farm with his family, and obviously it was a very traditional household. You know, the females would do house chores and cook, whilst the males worked all day. You know, as it should be. I'm just joking, okay? That was a joke. So yeah, his dad would make him work very hard hours out in the field. Sometimes it'd be like 11 plus hours out in the brutal North Carolina heat. You know, working out in these fields and doing farm work and stuff. Whilst on the other hand, his sisters got sent inside all day, drink sweet tea, and stay in the nice cool air conditioning. So yeah, we think he probably became like really jealous of them. And he probably wished that he was a female instead of a guy, so that he could sit inside all day and drink sweet tea in nice cool air conditioning. So yeah, I think that had a pretty big effect on Kris wanting to transition. Or maybe he just wanted to enjoy some nice cold sweet tea as a girl. But yeah, moving on, the next thing I want to talk about is the supposed next victim, which surprisingly not a lot of YouTubers have talked about. They kind of just glanced over it, but today we're going to talk about it. She says, "I was sexually assaulted by Ava Tyson. Here's my story. For context, Ava and I were both adults and met each other as adults. Ava followed me on Twitter in November of 2022 after seeing my transition timelines on Twitter when I had under 500 followers. And they attached a screenshot of Kris texting them on Twitter. He said that you're an effing inspiration. You rock." Kris said, "Hey, you too. Thank you so much. Dang, dude took 8 days to respond. Also, you look incredible. How long have you been on HRT?" "Since February. Thank you so much." Alright, so pretty normal so far, but let's continue. We started messaging each other every day through Twitter. She confided in me that she thought my results from HRT were amazing and that she was planning on getting on HRT soon to transition herself. As someone who follows online culture, content, and streaming, I was overwhelmed. Okay, so I'm assuming this before Kris became like public about like transitioning and stuff. And I guess that she's overwhelmed that now she has to keep this like big secret, I guess. My emotions with being trusted with this secret and information that I knew would be huge news. Maybe I should just kept reading. I genuinely could not believe something so amazing had happened in my life after I had been through so much. Eventually we talked about me potentially working for Mr. Beast, and she told me that she was sure she could get me in a video. Okay, so now it's kind of using like this connection to Mr. Beast to manipulate her into getting what he wants. I feel like it's kind of obvious manipulation, but moving forward, I guess. And there's a screenshot of them talking about it, and if there's no screenshot before this, then the actual person who made this post actually brought it up first. She was the most famous person to ever show me that type of attention, and she immediately started love-bombing me and making me feel like the most important person in her life within the first few weeks of us talking. She told me that she told her therapist about the positive impact I was making in her life, and that she told her friends about me. She very quickly moved our conversation to Snapchat. Okay, look, I get that you're talking to a famous person, so you're going to wear a couple red flags. But if someone starts love bombing you and being like, you're the most important person in my life, I love you so much, when you've known them for a week, then pack your bags and start running. Because you're definitely not the first person they've done this to. While I was under the impression that she was working on getting me in the video, we started having video chats on Discord. I just saw a glimpse of what's coming up. He asked me to masturbate with her on video call multiple times, and I always felt like I had to say yes if I wanted to be in a video or get a job. Okay, look, you're desperate, I get it, you know, you want to be in a video that bad, but that's kind of your own doing, okay? Look, that is very weird to do that with someone you barely even know, but you're a consenting adult and you chose to do that. On one occasion, she asked me to join a video call and asked me to masturbate even though she knew I wasn't feeling well, which led me to joining her and then puking after a few minutes. Again, very odd and douchey for him to do that, but you chose to do it, okay? You didn't have to do it if you didn't want to. Like, did you ever listen to those programs at school? Just say no. Well, that was for drugs, but, you know, it applies the same here, too. Our conversations always lean in the direction of affectionate and sexual, and she sent me a lot of sexual explicit snaps, chats, messages, photos, and videos. All this shit was very confusing to me, and I didn't fully realize I was being fooled at that time. Eventually, she flew me out to her home in Greenville with a one-way ticket while I was under the impression that she would be getting me in a Mr. Beast video. The first night at her house, she told me to sit up in the bedroom as I would be sleeping in there with her. I thought that this would potentially be the beginning of a relationship. When we went into bed together that night, we ended up cuddling and kissing, which led to her taking her clothes off and asking for oral sex from me. I went down on her, expecting her to engage in sex that would be reciprocated. Okay, we're getting way too much detail. When I was done, she made it clear that she did not want to return any sexual favors to me. Dang, bro, blue balled you. I was hoping that would not be the case. Next time we hooked up, and I was believed we would be moving to something more mutual. Over the course of the next week, Ava engaged me sexually and ended up receiving oral pleasure several times. But she never reciprocated any sexual favors in return when I was done. Kinda douchey, not gonna lie. I was too scared to directly ask for anything in return, and she took advantage of that. Okay, so you probably knew that she was taking advantage of you. So why would you keep letting her take advantage of you? Probably because you want to be in that Mr. Beast video. So it kind of seems like you guys were both using each other. She was using you for sexual favors, and you're using her for a chance to be in Mr. Beast video. And maybe a job there, which you mentioned a good amount of times. The day she first posted publicly that she was on the HRT was also the first week I was there. After making her first post, Jimmy called her later that night. While Ava was receiving oral sex from me, she answered the phone and had a conversation with Jimmy while I continued to. Oh my god. That is diabolical. How is nobody talking about this? Because that's actually crazy. If that's true, Kris is disgusting. More than he already is. So yeah, Kris, you're gonna make the next video? Yeah, I'll try. You good, man? Yeah, just, I had a cough. After almost a week, I was starting to feel really used and confused about everything. While I was there, I found out through conversations between Ava, myself, and her friend that she did not have the ability to cast anyone in a Mr. Beast video. To me, it seemed like Kris was not like using that against you, like, oh, if you want to be in the Mr. Beast video, you gotta do this. Like, the only person that was planting that image in your head was you. Okay, to speed things up, I'm just gonna sum up the next couple tweets. So basically, she flew back home after feeling used by Kris, but she was like, you know what, I'm gonna still be with him. So basically, this whole cycle repeats. She actually moves in with Kris, I think. The relationship continued to feel one-sided, just leave at this point. And I think she actually got a job working for Mr. Beast. During this trial period in my employment, Ava continued to receive oral sex from me, and I started to feel like I was being forced. Because I started feeling that way, I decided to try to avoid any physical engagement between Ava and I that could lead to more one-sided sexual acts. I took a short trip to my home state at the end of July and returned on July 28th. When I got back, I decided to do my best to avoid anything physically sexual between Ava and I. Not gonna lie, it's probably the smartest thing you've done in this entire story so far. But yeah, I'm assuming this probably didn't go well. On July 29th, we were watching TV together, alone in her living room, with no warning, prior physical engagement or sexual conversation. She took off her pants and started touching herself in front of me. At least give her like a little warning or something. I had just moved in with Ava and left my job to work as her assistant. In no way, shape, or form did I feel like I could say no without somehow risking my job or being asked to leave. She used that against me in order to receive non-consensual oral sex. Take this with a grain of salt, but I highly doubt that Kris was doing that. I think that you just planted that image in your head. And if he was doing that, then that sucks, but also, like, what do you expect? I don't know why you chose moving with them. After even noticing this cycle, I've already read ahead and know it's going to get worse, but so far, the situation so far, it's kind of like your own doing. Like, Kris, he's a terrible person for doing all this, but you're a grown adult. You need to start standing up for yourself. This was the moment that truly broke me. For the first time, nothing was enjoyable. It felt like it would never end, and my entire body just hurt from performing the act. It took me a few days to fully accept what had happened. Unfortunately, I was dealing with all these emotions while on a work trip, traveling the country, and spending most of my time with people I had just met. The trip itself was very isolating as an employee, and there were several times when I broke down crying. I was on a 3-hour car trip to the airport when 3 people I had just met and spent the entire drive crying, but trying to be as quiet as possible so that I didn't bother anyone. And yeah, there's a lot more to this, but that's pretty much it. She just goes in more depth about Kris manipulating her after all this. But so far, I don't think Kris sexually assaulted you. Don't get me wrong, he was a douchebag during the entire relationship. I think you're just kind of salted that you didn't really get anything out of the relationship. You know, like being in a Miss Beast video or clout. It seems like that's what you really wanted out of the relationship. And you kept using those things as an excuse to keep ignoring the red flags and keep doing sexual favors for him when you got nothing out of it. I think the smart thing was to do is tell him no. Because I don't think he even said no not once to him. And don't move in with him. But yeah, guys, this is it for this video. I'm 1 subscriber away from 2 subscribers. You know, that'd be really awesome if we hit that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Bye.